Hey everybody, Jeff here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be animating our photos using this really cool technique called CINEMAGRAPH. A CINEMAGRAPH is pretty much a photo with moving elements from a video. It's very simple to make. The amount of equipment we need is actually very basic and it brings that photo to a whole different level. So, you ready? Let's get into it. Alright, so we need to follow a couple of steps. Step number 1, get the equipment. The first thing we're going to need is a sturdy tripod and a camera. It's very important for you to know that the camera that we're going to be using has to make video, otherwise of course this is not going to work. Now that we've got our equipment together, it's time for step number 2. Also remember, a CINEMAGRAPH is a moving photo. This means that it has to be certain movement in your video, otherwise this is just not going to work. Once you found the spot you want to use for your CINEMAGRAPH, let's talk about the settings. This is a regular video, so just try to shoot like your regular video. If you're new or if you don't make videos, try to keep your shutter speed at 150 because we're going to be shooting at 24 frames per second. So if possible, try to set that to your camera, and if you don't know what it is, like I strongly advise you to check on the internet or on YouTube how to change the frames per second on your camera. Set it to 50 and then set your shutter speed at 1/50th of a second. And of course you have to play around with your aperture and your ISO to get that perfect exposure. Alright guys, so we've got our equipment ready, our location is spot on and our settings are ready to go. Now we're going to shoot our video. So for this, we're only going to shoot between 30 seconds and 1 minute max. It is very important to know that when you're making your video, does not have to be like 5 or 10 minutes long. In my personal opinion, it even works better if you shoot between 10 seconds and 30 seconds. The reason why they're going to be so short is because once we import everything into Photoshop, we're only going to be using a couple of frames or a couple of photos within our video. Therefore, like more than a minute, it's just a waste of time, a waste of effort, and it's just going to make the whole process so painfully slow. And of course, the most important thing is that we have fun, right? So, you've got your setup ready, why don't you just go out and explore, make a couple of shots, and once you've got everything ready, let's bring everything into Photoshop and let's get working. Alright guys, so as you can see I already imported everything into my computer. So we're going to be working with this one right here. So I'm going to drag it onto my Photoshop. This is exactly what you will get as well. So let me just get rid of this. And this is very simple right here. This is our timeline. If you don't see it, go to Window and then make sure you go ahead and click on Timeline. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just mute it because after a couple of minutes it gets a little bit too much. So you can just go ahead and click on this little speaker icon right here. And there you go. This particular clip right now is 19 seconds. And like I mentioned earlier, we're just going to grab maybe 1 second ideally. I'm just gonna go ahead and click play. Alright, so now that everything is rendered, I'm going to go through it, but this time I'm just going to drag it. And the whole reason why I'm gonna do that is because I want to find the most appealing kind of frame to me. And I'm going to use that one as the photo for my CINEMAGRAPH. I kind of like this one right here, to be honest. I'm just going to lift this right here, and if you're working on a Mac, you're going to press Command Option Shift E. And what this does is this creates a new layer based on this photo. So all I have to do is just bring it to the top. There we go. And that is going to create a brand new layer. I'm just gonna bring it all the way here. And at the moment we don't need it, so I'm just going to make it invisible. There we go. So for this particular case, the moving part is going to be the water, right? So that means that I'm just going to go through the entire clip again. We want a part where there are no people walking through, like pretty much the only movement is going to be from the water. Let's see, like as you can see, for example, here there's a person walking around here. So this is for me a no-go. Alright, so this looks kind of cool. Ideally, I want a full second. So as you can see, I already found this second right here where both water streams are perfectly clear. There's no one walking through. So I'm just going to grab this one. Click on this clip right here and then just drag it all the way until you see the red line right there. Boom. There you go. Cool. So now that you've got that, I'm just gonna take it back. And again, this is around a second, roughly. So again, same procedure. I'm just going to click on it right at the border and drag it at the 1 second mark. If you can see this part right here, this is going to make your timeline a little bit bigger so you can work a little bit easier. So as you can see, this is very stuttery and there's nothing like a CINEMAGRAPH. Don't worry about it. Now we're going back to the layers area right here. We're going to grab our video group, click and drag it to create a copy of it. We've got 3 layers, right? All I'm going to do right now is pick the second layer and then just drag it until it matches the end of the first layer. And then we're just going to again drag it and make it a little bit longer. I would say like around halfway the first clip. Doesn't have to be like exactly at the half, but somewhere around there. And now I'm just going to take the end of it and drag it back until everything is exactly the same size. I'm going back to the top layer, click on it, and then click on this arrow right here. And this is going to give me a couple of options. Alright, so now I'm just going to bring this fellow right here and bring it literally where the second clip begins. Still, we've got the top clip selected. I'm going to pick my opacity and click on this little icon right here, and this is going to create a keyframe. So I'm going to leave that there, create a second one around the end of it. Again, click on this little dot right here, and this is going to create our second keyframe. I'm just going to go back to the layer section and change the opacity down to 0 and bring this all the way to the end. The water keeps going and going and going, and that's exactly what we want, but we're not done yet. So I'm just going to stop this. Remember that layer that we made at the beginning? Well, I'm going to activate it again, and now we've got this top layer right here. If I hit play, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens, and the reason why nothing happens is because our video is running on the background and the foreground is a photo. We have to make our video visible, and for that we're going to again go to a layer section, click on the layer, and then we're going to create a layer mask. We're going to hit B for brush, or you can just go ahead and find brush right here and make sure you've got black selected. Just grab something like around the size of the water stream and then just paint away. So by painting black, what I'm doing is I'm deleting part of the photo to make the video visible. So now, if I hit play, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's our CINEMAGRAPH. And in theory, like, you can just go ahead and export it from here, but what I like to do is, again, just click on my layer, and I like to do some color correction. Alright, so I'm very happy with my colors, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to my first frame and grab my colors. And by pressing Command G, I'm just going to group them, and I'm just going to name this color. So let's export this. Let's go to File, Export, and Save for Web. You're going to get this pop-up box right here, so make sure this area right here is GIF, and the looping options is set to forever. Now, as you can see, like, the size of this GIF is 21.32 megabytes. That is huge. That is way too big. So I'm just going to change it to 1920. Alright, so I kind of like that. Let's go ahead and click save. There we go. So, drum roll please. The final product is going to be this one. There you go. Alright guys, so there you have it. That is a very cool way to animate our photos and bring it to the next level. If you like this video, do not hesitate to give me a huge. And if you're feeling awesome and want to support this channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because after all, it's for free, right? So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a terrific week, and I'll see you in the next video.